Very warm welcome to our discussion on the findings of the HFS ServiceNow Horizon. And Horizons are our flagship research project, or hopefully you have come across them before. And we're evaluating there both the dynamics of specific segments and ecosystem, as well as the hopefully highly visible evaluation of service provider capabilities. And you will see those rankings, of, in this case of ServiceNow, in a moment in this video cast. And we are doing, if my memory serves me right, the ServiceNow evaluation for the fifth time. And with that, hopefully, we have gleaned an intimate understanding of the market, but also with the same token, and quite frankly, and you will walk you through in a moment, we've seen a lot of changes. And that might be the best segue to the points I would like to discuss with you today. So let me walk you through the key finding of the research. First and foremost, there's a rapid expansion of ServiceNow capability, meaning the platform and its capabilities itself. And not only that, but we're seeing some of the pace of change as well as the maturation across the ServiceNow ecosystem is probably nothing short of astounding. But for me, it's less about headline grabbing announcement. And as you might know, ServiceNow is never shy in terms of marketing announcements, such as just before the big conference in Las Vegas about yet another provider talking in generative AI. But I think what we have seen, the whole ecosystem is pivoting from a focus of implementation, going back to my earlier point on the early years, to much more focus on transformation. And that means for operations leaders, they are benefiting both, on one hand, from the rapid expansion of capabilities, I mean, everything they're getting directly from ServiceNow, but with the same token, they get many more some of in-depth capabilities, industry context, and broader capabilities from their partners from the ecosystem. But with that also, double clicking the point on transformation, we see something of a bifurcation in that ecosystem. And perhaps the best way to think about it is the vanguard of that ecosystem is enabling broader transformation, but also the vanguard are the providers we have evaluated in a report. There's so many more providers in that ecosystem is vibrant as always. And many more providers would like to have participated. But again, some of them are the best way to think about it. What you will see also on that slide in a moment, literally that's the vanguard of the ServiceNow ecosystem. And double clicking again, so what's for us the biggest takeaway? It's that shift towards transformation. And again, when we started our research years back, it was all about implementations and getting access to talent was a basics, just implementing platform and capabilities itself. And probably there are many facets to that. But perhaps the most compelling one is that those transformational outcomes we have seen go far beyond just ServiceNow's heritage around IT-centric workflows. If anything, I would argue the broader market hasn't woken up. The ServiceNow's new revenues are coming, some of half of those new revenues are coming some of outside of IT-centric from the business-centric workflows. And sometimes literally you have to scratch your head listening to providers, but all the transformation journeys they're on, because again, we don't recognize those as change. So thirdly, what are the emerging themes and capabilities that we have seen? And in alignment with this pivot of transformation I was speaking to, so we many some of emerging themes, again, some of that we typically many wouldn't associate with ServiceNow. Good example, enabling GBS, so global business service journeys, is a red hot topic. GBS, for those who don't know it, all these back office function, finance, HR, procurement, again, some of a far cry from what we know from ServiceNow. But other new topics, Accenture, for instance, is taking the capabilities deep into BPO and beyond just their own platform, their Synops platform and everything else. But also we have seen, although we, as I just said, some of the business-centric workflows, but also in IT, things like topics like ERP modernization, application management services, all of a sudden, with that, ServiceNow is attracting completely new buying centers. But not only that, and that's a fourth point I would like to call out, we're seeing with this shift to transformation, new ways of engagements, much more around ecosystem. And of part of those ecosystems, a couple of providers that are standing out. On the one hand, with the topic I just meant around ERP modernization, AMS, then are providers like Dynatrace, AppDynamics, so they're partnering with both some of clients, but also ServiceNow, so be much broader some of engagement model. Flipping to the other side, we're seeing Celonis, and Celonis is probably a case of re-emerging. Some of you might recall ServiceNow has signed a partnership with Celonis. I think memory serves me well back in 2001 to 2021. Initially, so we at HFS believed that might lead to a most deep strategic partnership, if not M&A. But then it became quiet. But again, as part of the research, Celonis pops up everywhere. So, be it around some of the supply chain examples I gave, but also some of the more IT-centric workflows I was just calling out. And the fifth point is, we always tend to think that the more these kind of ecosystems are maturing, it's a bunch of the big guys, the GSI, the global system integrators. But interestingly, we see a lot of the pure players are loving, we call them specialist consultancies, which are just focused on ServiceNow, but they're starting to scale out. Good examples, organizations like Cerdira, New Rocket, that's some of them in their own right, some of them are leveraging M&A to scale out. Both Cerdira and New Rocket, some of them now scale out internationally as well. Other examples, Platformation, they're a bit of the poster child for industry-led solutions, especially around manufacturing, or cars based out of the US, deeply entrenched in the public sector. Glidefast, another pure plays with a strong US or North America focus, and their sweet spot is taking over projects that have deep challenges or big challenges, referencing its own deep technical knowledge. Just to give you a little bit of sense. And again, it's not just about implementation, they're also scaling out industry-led solutions. And they really should be seen as strong providers, but at times outside Horizons 3. But again, it's not some top is almost important. These providers should be on your radar screen as well. And then almost getting to the big headlines, last point, and the big congratulations to those Horizons 3 providers, the market leaders. So we're calling out Accenture, Deloitte, DXC, EY, Infosys, and KPMG. And what are the shared characteristics? I think for me, it's about blending compelling visual of those transformation journey, with deep nuanced ServiceNow capabilities. And the read gets somehow separated from the chaff when providers demonstrate literally these outcomes enabled by ServiceNow. And at times take somebody like Accenture, they don't even talk about ServiceNow capability anymore. It's about transformation. Because extending on Accenture, they're taking the platform, in at least 8 industries, they're leading the envelope on innovation, but also taking the platform into many industries. Others examples, Deloitte, it's very strong, on all things, perhaps as you expect, advising good risk while scaling out GBS capabilities again. KPMG, very similar approach. Some of them are both spearheading ESG solution, again, in partnerships alone, as I called out earlier. But also DXC, some of them are they're regaining their mojo, very strong as the market is broadening. And some of them in the past, we were looking much more at transformation outside of IT here. But as I was calling out, we see some of IT-centric transformation, and it swings back into their direction as well. Another top 4, Infosys, and they're blending broader service management capabilities with what they call the ESM cafe platform. My own heritage is coming through a little bit for a moment there. And again, strongly ESM stands for employee-centric services, and Infosys drives broad transformation through that. So to close that out, what's the key takeaway? Again, hopefully it will come across as the ecosystem is pivoting towards transformation. And the next big shift, I know you might have heard, is unavoidable. We call it generative enterprise. Generative AI will change many things. And probably a good way to think about it is ServiceNow could become the digital foundation for their shift towards this generative enterprise. With that, also you get a sense it's not just longer about capabilities this discussion anymore. It's really we have to get much more insights into what are the new IT operating models, what are the transformation outcomes. And as so often, HFS is planning to lead the way in all this discussion in the seismic shift towards the generative enterprise. So we'd love to discuss it with you and to get in touch to do so. Thanks for listening.